the premise and characters in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure are two of the things that make this film so fabulous. There is one thing about this film that makes it a little less than perfect for me, and that's how juvenile Bill and Ted are. Sometimes I find that their actions are just a little bit too immature for my liking, but then usually straight after that something really funny will happen, or one of them will say something that's very entertaining, and I just forget that. So for the most part, I love this, maybe not as much as some people. It was released in 1989, directed by Stephen Herek, written by Ed Solomon and Chris Matheson, and of course stars Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter as Ted and Bill, which sounds really weird saying it backwards. And the narrative for this is what makes this so special. And this, from IMDb, it says, two seemingly dumb teens set off on a quest to prepare the ultimate historical presentation with the help of a time machine. They find a time machine, they go back in time, they meet these historical characters. I love it. As a big fan of history and historical figures, I loved, wondering who they'd meet next and how those historical figures would be represented, how they'd react around them. And actually, although they are quite juvenile, I think they go on a really pleasing character journey, and they become increasingly more likable to me. So that's something that I found quite pleasing as the narrative developed. But certainly to begin with, this film could have gone either way. Some of the people we meet are pretty amazing. Napoleon, Billy the Kid, Socrates, Freud, Genghis Khan, Joan of Arc, Lincoln, Beethoven. They are so brilliant. I think they really covered a great mix of time periods, and there were a lot of different references in this. I think for a younger audience, it's definitely going to be educational. A younger audience will almost certainly be introduced to at least one historical figure they've not heard of, which I think is obviously going to be very beneficial from an educational perspective, but it is also very funny. And I think maybe the humour is not my kind of humour, and yet I still like it. So that to me is a sign that this is a quality film. I think it's very well directed, very well edited. The special effects are really good. The mix of historical characters are really good. The acting is obviously great. Bill and Ted as characters, as I said, sometimes annoyed me, but for the most part I found them really likeable. There isn't really anything about this that doesn't work, and I think it will appeal to pretty much everybody. And it's very rare that would actually happen. Obviously after this we get Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which I will discuss at some point in the future, but I will say that the Bogus Journey is definitely, for me, nowhere near as good as Excellent Adventure. Excellent Adventure is just in a league of its own. It's got 7 out of 10 on IMDb, which is, a respectable rating. It's a really, really great rating. Metascore of 50, which is a bit lower than I would have expected. But I really like it. If you haven't seen it, I think it does live up to the hype. It's definitely worth watching. Certainly it's a film that I will watch multiple times. Not in quick succession. I can only watch it once and then not again for a few years. I find that it's better in small doses. But I do like it. It's good fun. If you haven't seen it, give it a watch. I'm pretty confident that you will love it.